What's up, guys? You are watching Fight Feed. Today, I'm going to be talking about the bantamweight matchup between Sean O'Malley and Merab Dvalishvili. This fight is actually happening the day after my birthday, so it's going to be a good time for me to be able to chill out, relax, watch the fights, have a good time. I've seen a lot of people bitching online, and I can understand the reasoning behind a lot of the naysayers to this fight being made. The reason I wanted to make a video is I wanted to talk about why I feel like there's not necessarily a negative aspect to this fight happening. And the reason why is because in their first fight, it was pretty back and forth in terms of, on the feet and striking. Obviously, Merab got the clear W against O'Malley, but O'Malley did hurt Merab more than I think any other fighter really has, except actually probably Henry Cejudo, who he actually wobbled Merab, which is crazy to think about. But you know, O'Malley having that ability to land that body shot at the end of the fight and have Merab kind of on the back pedal, right? Which we don't see ever with Merab. Merab is gas always. I think that this is an interesting matchup, just like any other fighter or other fighters and other commentators have said. Giving O'Malley another 25 minutes to find that kill shot is a big risk, and we need to give props to Merab at this point. This dude walks into the office of Dana White and Hunter and goes, "I want Umar," and demands the fight. And he goes out there and he literally, it was a competitive fight, but he dog walked Umar in the later rounds, and he showed him you have to be man first. I think that Merab taking this fight, even considering all of the risks, is just it's a huge feather in his cap. And like I said, in terms of pros, if Merab gets the job done against O'Malley, again, I mean, Merab's stock just continues to skyrocket. And then also, you still have a lot of fun matchups that are right there for the taking. We have winner against Davison versus Corey Sandhagen, that could potentially be next in line. But you also have a very deserving Petr Yan who's right there as well to get that next shot. And so what I like about Dvalishvili and O'Malley going at it again is that no matter what happens in this next fight, you have very fun matchups, right? If Merab is to beat Sean again, and this is actually probably the only negative, is that if Merab beats Sean again, Sean is going to be in a very tough spot in his career because it'll be 2 losses now to, the champ. And it'll be tough to see like who they match Sean up with after that. So what I think could happen is, let's just, play along. Let's say Merab wins. Right away, I think the next guy in line for Merab has to be Petr Yan. Petr Yan beat Davison Figueiredo. So in terms of like that matchup between Corey and Davison, Corey has to win that fight to even be thought about. But Petr Yan's already kind of in the wings and ready to go. So I think, Merab beats Sean. You got to have Petr go up against Merab. I don't think that Petr needs to prove anything else. He beat Davison Figueiredo pretty convincingly. He's had some amazing scraps in this division. He's lost to Merab, so there's that story aspect there, which the UFC's always looking for. I think Petr gets, penciled in there if Merab is to get the job done against O'Malley. Now let's flip it on its head. O'Malley wins this fight. Right there, you also have Petr, who is like next in line. So I think that people bitching and saying Petr should have got this matchup before O'Malley, I understand it from a, deserving aspect, but you guys have to remember that O'Malley brings eyes and an audience to these fights that is just, it's no other fighter in the bantamweight division at this point can meet that ability. Like they're just not going to bring some of that younger audience that O'Malley's going to bring. O'Malley's a great fighter. He's a fun fighter. That's what people don't understand. I get we can look at rankings, right? We can look at the rankings. We can look at kind of like certain fighters being, pushed or elevated before others. But that's the thing. O'Malley has that exciting factor to his fights. He goes out there to put people out cold, and a lot of other fighters don't. A lot of other fighters go in there to lay on top of them and do nothing. O'Malley is trying to end that person's consciousness with whatever he can throw. And he brings that style, that entertaining style that people want to watch and are engaged with. So I'm just not going to be a hater. I think that this fight could be a great fight. If O'Malley is able to show, obviously he had a torn labrum, I think it was, so his hip was fucked up in the last fight. I think him having that fixed and also being locked in with his training camp. I'm out here in Phoenix. They're in Glendale or Phoenix, I think, um, or Peoria. I don't know where Sean's at, but dude, represent, man. Go out there and get this job done. Land that kill shot. Now, I'm going to go back on to if Sean wins this fight, you've got Petr Yan right there. Peter's next in line for the Bantamweight Championship, in my opinion. And then let's just say that happens. You have winner of Davison versus Corey as like the next person in line, right? So I feel like things are actually working out pretty nicely in the bantamweight division. People want to call out like, oh, well, where's Umar fit in? Dude, Umar, if anyone got fast tracked, it was him. I mean, he did beat Corey Sandhagen, which is a great win, but like before Corey Sandhagen, he really didn't fight anybody. And so I feel like as of right now, you have at least the next 2 or 3 title fights lined up, based off of who wins or loses. Here's the fun part too. If Sean does lose this fight, Merab, like I said, fights Petr Yan. And then from there, I think whatever future matchups are made in the bantamweight division, you kind of have the next one in line. Now, let's just say, Sean loses and Corey wins or loses. I think that if Corey and Sean both lose, that's a perfect matchup to make because they're both kind of at the top of the division. And it's been something that's been talked about for a long time that this matchup could be a great one against Corey and Sean. So right there, even if both lose, you have a fun matchup in the bantamweight division that can happen. And then if Corey is somehow, if Sean loses but Corey wins, now you've got the guy that is next up to go against Merab because fortunately, you have Corey and Davison have not fought Merab. And so it's like no matter what happens in their fight, you have either one of them who's the winner who can then sell themselves to get that next title shot after that of Petr Yan. I think Petr Yan is next regardless. But I guess the way I look at this, there's a lot of people bitching and moaning about Sean O'Malley getting this shot. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I feel like it could be a very entertaining fight, especially if Sean is more defensive and active with stopping these takedowns and actually make it a fight on the feet. It could go either way. And if Sean's able to put Merab's lights out, here's the other thing. You now have a trilogy aspect to Sean versus Merab. Like if Sean goes out there and starches Merab, there has to be a trilogy. And unfortunately for that, I feel bad because you have Petr Yan, who's kind of just been on ice. And I think that that's bullshit because Petr Yan is a killer and he's proven himself time and time again in this division. But if Sean beats Merab going, getting that win over Sean initially, defending against Umar, I just feel like also if you add in that layer of Aljo not getting that rematch against Sean, I feel like Merab kind of deserves that rematch for a trilogy against Sean if Sean's able to get get the win on the night. But I could see the UFC kind of fucking Merab over, which I would not agree with. But then again, it's like if Merab loses, you want Petr Yan to also get his flowers, right? So it's a very tough situation to be in. But then also on that same token, you've got Petr Yan waiting in the wings. If Corey wins, right there, if Sean wins and Corey wins, you've got that great title matchup there too. So like no matter what, I think that these matchups are still bound to happen regardless of the winners on the night of. I just feel like this fight against, Merab and Sean, the UFC has to bring in that big audience, right? Because this is another pay-per-view. And then you got Kayla Harrison versus Juliana Pena, which I think is going to be a fun fight to watch. Ultimately, I am not one of these guys that's going to be hating on Sean getting the shot. I think that Sean O'Malley brings a style to the octagon that is always fun to watch. And if you're a fan of fighting, I don't know how you could be bored watching a Sean O'Malley fight, especially when he's able to get his striking going. I know you could say it was boring the last fight because he was not able to get any of his strikes off. But in this fight, if Sean can do that, this could end up being one of the best fights we've ever seen. The jury's still out on that. We shall see what happens on June 7th. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you give it a like if you enjoyed. Make sure to comment below what your thoughts. I would love to hear how you guys feel about this matchup. Who do you think is going to win in the next one? Thanks, guys.